Hello, everyone. My name is Rodney Veal. I'm the host of Rodney Veal's Inspired By. And today I get to talk to someone I consider to be an infectious entrepreneurial spirit on the art scene in Dayton, Ohio. I love his art. I've seen manifestations of it, and I see the evolution of it. And he's just a cool guy. So without further ado, Bil Tipton. Bil, welcome to the show.
I appreciate you having me, Rodney. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. One of the things that, what I love about doing the podcast is, and I love talking to artists, is I go in the hot tub time machine. We go way back. We start from the beginning because no one comes out of the womb. I refuse to, comes out of the womb thinking, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to do this thing. They always have some different dream when they were a child. And then the art takes over. So let's go back in that hot tub time machine. What were you like as a child that led you to be this thing? What was going on, Bil, when you were young to be an artist? I'm kind of curious.
I suppose, fortunately, unfortunately, I've run full cycle, and I think I'm just back to being a kid now. I think maybe I was kind of close to what I am in this moment. Um, it kind of cracks me up, but a friend of mine and me were having a conversation about like the whole younger you, what would they think of you now? And I think I'd be blown away. I think, or maybe even nervous, a little wild adult, childish kind of thing. Anyway, I grew up in New Carlisle. My
Okay.
mom went to college for, in fact, Sinclair College for art. Uh, it was just kind of an open book, kind of. That was something she pushed throughout my life. Um, I guess, like you said, I did want to be an astronaut. Uh,
Really?
I
Oh,
didn't take
yeah.
many steps towards doing it, but I thought it
You
sounded like
put
a
it
great
out
idea
there.
when I was young.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, basically, I grew up in New Carlisle, more or less around that area. I've lived in Tip City for a good chunk of my life, and
Okay.
before coming here into Dayton. But I've also been very involved in the area here. Uh, Ended up going to school myself. Am I jumping too far forward too
No,
quickly?
this is a conversation. Because I'm getting to know you. I'm like, this is our audience is getting to know you. So it's like, yeah, it's like, I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, this is why I'm
Perfect.
inspired by journeys. Like you had a journey, man. You had a journey. It's a cool thing. So I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
so your house was filled with art. I mean, clearly, like when your mom, going to
Oh
Sinclair,
my gosh.
it was like,
Yeah, art
mama
has been
influences are
like,
real. Let me tell you.
I think truly, and I'm so very grateful for all the pushing she did and the normalizing of art around me. Because since then, I've seen that that isn't necessarily actually what's common in everybody's household and things like that. It's something maybe I kind of took for granted at first, and now realizing, standing back, that I think I was kind of catered to in a art lifestyle kind of open thinking, at least for my mom and things like that.
Okay. That's a cool thing. No, that's a good, and that's a recurring thing that I found in any discipline of artists. I'm because I'm really lucky that I get to talk to artists in all these different genres, and it all stems back to somebody in their household. It was a parent or grandparent or uncle, friends of the family. It was like they just normalized this thing, whatever their art form was. Like, oh yeah, well, go for it. Or here, here's a box of paint. Go, And so
Yeah,
it's just, and once and so I'm just I just believe very strongly. You let kids run, they will be Olympic sprinters in creativity if you let them go. And so, I mean, I want to kind of, because your style of art is so uniquely you, but it's rooted in, and you can correct me. It's very rooted in a specific, that word specific genre of art making, and it has elements of of street culture. It has elements of skateboard culture. It has elements of a youthful exuberance. And I'm kind of curious as like, like, was that always your style of art making? Once you got this influence from your mom, like that art is possible. Well, or were you planning to go this route? Like, I mean, I'm curious. Like I said, I'm curious.
I guess an interesting thing to me is I suppose if I tried to say I had planned this out, it it wouldn't have went well, I don't think. The path that I've taken, I suppose. It's not what I thought I would be doing. I've always worked with my hands a lot, things like that. I guess I've always been kind of like exposed to kind of political stuff. My family was kind of really hyper like religious and things like that. Like my mother and father were like Pentecostal, and that's kind of like what
Wow.
I grew up in. It was kind of a rowdy version. No offense to anyone, I guess, or I
That's
hope
okay.
not,
No
but
one
it
will be
was a
offended
very
on our podcast.
rowdy version of religion to me. And that's since been stuff that I've kind of went away from and things like that. But like, I guess really in a roundabout way, I've always really liked using like really bright colors and stuff, and I like it looking playful and things like that. Even if the subject matter maybe is kind of serious, I like uh, kind of handling stuff, whatever. Even at this point, kind of questioning religion, questioning government, questioning kind of stuff like that, but still trying to keep a bright, like playful look about it.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
something that I've kind of taken pride in that like kids can kind of really enjoy, even if they don't read into like what's maybe the painting's even about, or things like that. Um, I guess just pop art is really it. And it is interesting. I kind of, I've been mixed up in a rough crowd of the graffiti artists. And the thing
Oh,
is, I actually don't do graffiti. And
that's
just my like
interesting.
work resembles it. I have been heavily influenced. I love the way like, yeah, graffiti art, street art, like is
Yeah.
presented uh, kind of painty collagey type mixtures of figuring out how you want to tell the story of what you're painting. Um, I honestly started with watercolors, and basically what I figured out was I couldn't get them as bright as I wanted them. So that was really the goal. I just kept trying to find what paint could be the brightest, and spray paint and
Ah,
stuff like that started
yeah.
scratching those itches.
The funny thing is, okay, so yesterday, I led a panel discussion with a group of artists at the Dana Wiley Gallery, and they talked, and this painter's, she's done these like what you would consider to be typical like still lifes of flowers, but man, she went in really close and they're big and bright. I mean, the colors like, and she
I
says,
saw
dude,
them and they're great.
I know. And she talked about, she said, I just had to figure out the best way to get the brightest color possible. And it's like, and I'm like, and they're all like, it's all about problem solving. Because, you have to kind of start with something and like, that didn't really kind of do what it needed to do. And I respond to color. If you couldn't
Yeah.
tell, I respond to art behind me, lots of color. I believe in that. And so
Dang.
bang, right? And so you gotta kind of figure it out. Like sometimes, I started off like, yeah, some people, now I'm like, bring it on, give me color, give me pattern. I'm like, why would you be subtle? I don't understand. So so it's really interesting you talk about that people think that you do graffiti art and street art, but it's the style of it, but not the like, I'm just kind of curious about that, like how people think, oh, because you use a spray can, like,
I
an
have
aerosol
even
can.
I've had interviews similar to this, and that's where basically they've asked me questions about like street culture and things like that. And essentially, I don't know if I'm tough enough for all that. I think I'm just a little artsy guy. I don't know if I can hang in the streets.
Ooh, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a thing. That's real. That's real. Even I know I can't. So, I mean, well, and so it's like, so like this whole like idea of these images being bright and colorful and layered, like you just kind of went from the watercolors. How did you go from watercolor to aerostyle cans? Was there like anything in between? Like, did you try that tube paint out of the tube? The typical squeeze it out palette. Which I don't mind, but sometimes I can't get the colors bright enough.
I've
I'll be
got
honest with you.
I've got a pile of paint right here next to me. I have tubes. So I mean it's a little bit like now I kind of use a bit of everything. I guess maybe that was kind of along the way. I was learning what I could do. I mean, I guess maybe where I can a funny and maybe shocking story about the beginning
Go.
of
Yeah.
me doing art is I went to Sinclair Community College as well. So I was
Mhm.
going to take graphic design, or I did. I took it for about a year. And funny enough, at the time, Photoshop wasn't new, but pretty new to me. And quite frankly, Photoshop messed me up and made me drop out of college. I was absolutely shook by it. I couldn't figure it out at the time, and I just think some of that, and I don't always think it's true, but the separation of me not being classically trained and doing some of my research and doing some crash course trying to figure out stuff along the way has actually kind of helped me um, be able to figure out what I can and can't do because, like, basically I was just reading books about how to do some of the things, but I don't know if I knew all the rules. Like basically I was even mixing stuff at first that like, oh, that alcohol ink doesn't work with this paint, like duh or whatever. But along the way I figured out like odds and ends combinations that kind of worked for me to give me like the visuals
Right.
that I wanted.
I
A lot
yeah.
of the watercolor I was doing, I would try to make like bolder. I was doing like black outline kind of stuff. Like I would do a big picture
Oh,
and then kind of do like a hard black outline over what I was making. And I suppose like in the beginning, that was really my press was just to get like a very powerful, like a very, like you said, just the bright colors. I like contrasts and I was just trying to figure out what I could mash together. And sometimes that didn't work in the beginning, but like I've kind of figured out a formula now of like almost all my pieces are made kind of with the same like processy situation, just different subject matter.
I love that. Well, the thing is that you're in the tradition. I think a lot of times, and I'll probably get like slapped around for saying this. I don't think it's
I'm
necessarily about
worried,
getting.
yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily about getting a degree. I think it's about your intentions. It's your work ethic. It's like the fact that you said it. Do research. That's all school teaches you.
Yeah.
Research the materials.
Read,
You need
read,
to.
read. Yeah.
Right, read, and so it's like I'm like, what? Like you did it on your own. You don't need someone to tell you that, and so it's really fascinating to me that how we as a tendency as artists and art makers kind of tell ourselves we're not good enough because we didn't do the formalized training. I'm like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Why is
It's
the yeah
I I definitely have nothing against it and truly have a lot of respect for people who are like whatever
yeah
classically trained and everything. But I guess that was it. At the time in my life, what worked best for me is I would pick apart certain things, and I guess just the majority of what I've done is just traveling and soaking everything up. I just love looking at as much art, consuming, I guess, as much art. It seems like I have to consume like this much art to make this much art all the time. I
wow
feel like I'm picking and choosing little things from. Uh, I guess not to be too cliche. There's a book I read called How to Steal Like an Artist. And
hmm
like I kind of believe by it a lot. Like I think that that's how I've learned a lot of what I have is truly just grabbing a little something here, a little something there, and keep like adding them together to where like I'm able to create what I was looking for. Not
No, that's a
necessarily trying to recreate their art, but stealing little pieces of how they did something.
the thing is, and that is truly the story of every great artist doing their thing, which we don't talk about. It's like, because that book is a great book, by the way. And anybody who's out there, you need to read it. You need to
Please.
kind of trust your gut to try things and fail at it. It's like you talked about, like, some materials don't mix. There's just you won't know until you try it, and you go, well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
But you know that you'll try something else. Like, you just write it in your, you write down, dear journal, these two materials didn't
Mm-hmm.
failed, and you will
Yeah,
never
right.
do that again, and then you will figure out that, like, let me try this with this, like, well, maybe it's a different kind of material, and that's okay. And I think we don't talk enough about the trial and error and the failure. And so you seem to be not afraid to just try it, let's see what happens, and then kind of go. And I'm kind of curious, has that just always been in your nature to be, like, pretty fearless in that regard?
The only time I've had, uh, well, maybe I'm being a little too broad, but the only time I've ever had like regrets is if I have sat on an idea and dwelled on it or whatever, and I just don't figure it out. I don't know. Sometimes I just think what's really worked for me along the way is working and like trying things over and over. Like, you just kind of have to, like, work basically begets work, or like learning begets more learning. You must learn that next thing. And I know not necessarily, it's not always that you want to learn things the hard way, but
No, no,
whether
no,
I
yeah,
have or not. But
no.
I think that's really truly what's worked along the way for me. Maybe whether you'd want to call it frustration or learning or whatever, like, I'd try something and I know I'm just going to have to try something else to fix it to be able to get my project done. So, like, again, it's kind of checking off boxes of, what does work and what doesn't, uh, without having the classroom of the teacher telling you already that, no, duh, that wasn't going to work.
Because and that's and that was one of the conversations that the artist, Erin, who did Denise, who did the large scale floral prints at Dana Wiley's. She said
Wow.
she would literally have to see. She was doing this gesture. I had to tell my brain to push away the conversations of my professors. Like, you're getting in the way, you're getting in the way, getting in the way, getting in the way. I
Get
was like,
out of here.
I'm looking at her going, thank you for giving me that visual and that idea, because it's like you're saying exactly what you like. You
Yeah.
just can't let stuff get in the way of, like, the creative process. And and it's like those things, thoughts, like, we have these thoughts that sometimes just stop us from getting the work out. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just
Something
kind of wonder,
about
like,
trying to over figure something out. Like, instead of just like, I just think there's so much power, especially, I don't know, with digital stuff or whatever. I mean, that works for everything, but just like something about being able to like actually try it with my hands has helped me so very much. I suppose that's just how I learn and how I'm also inspired. Like, what I used to find is really frustrating, like what you would call like a failure or whatever, like something not
yeah.
working out. Really being able to embrace that as a learning process has helped me an awful lot, along the way. It's not really a failure unless you just keep trying something silly over and over and don't learn from it. I mean, I think the big part of it is just continually like going, like, you have to just keep trying stuff, and a few things stick and a bunch of things don't. But it's kind of nice to figure that out.
And so in that process, and because you're at, what I described you at the very beginning as being very entrepreneurial, um, and I do believe that. I really do. I
Yeah.
genuinely do believe, like, it's like, and I love that about you, um, and because it's not an entrepreneurial like it's not in a negative, it's a positive, because it's entrepreneurial is about risk taking, it's about taking a chance. It's, it's
Hmm.
not like, it's like, hey, you know what, let me try it. And so one of the things that was really interesting, like, because it was a couple of, it's future is now, like with Kimian Huggins, who we've had on the podcast.
Super fun.
Super fun. I walked in, so like I describe this experience, the futures now experience, because I can describe it from it's you describe it because you participated in it. So describe it. I mean, from your perspective, because it's just fascinating.
Well, it's like walking into a rave party and being expected to pay. Um, Truly one of my favorite experiences I've had there. I'll be 100% honest. That was really out of my comfort zone, truly. Live painting style situations. I mean, maybe even that goes back to like the graffiti end type stuff. Honestly, until somewhat recently, painting and creating in front of people, like with an audience of any sort, was kind of like, yikes, like that was intense to me. But well, Kimyan's events in particular, I think he's done such a great job of getting to know the community. He does this, I guess it's something that I also take pride in. Uh, Doing the research and putting care back into the community, I think is such a powerful thing. Like it ends up being such a cyclical situation because I know it helps him out too, but also he's uplifting every artist there. Uh, I've got a real soft spot in my heart, basically, for that sort of collaboration in an event, I think, or any art creating situation. I think those are the ones where your awesome artists are going to be like put on the spot and they're going to like push themselves to make something amazing. You're in a situation where you're going to be able to learn things. And it's kind of funny. I I realized each artist kind of almost downplayed themselves. They're like, "Oh, this isn't a big deal," because each of us were oohing and eyeing each other. And it's just funny what you become accustomed to being normal. Maybe this is what you've been working on so much, but like being able to see each other's like that. And again, I guess it ends up, I'm sorry that I'm being so open about this part, that anytime I'm looking at your art, I'm looking for something to steal out of it. Um,
No,
I'm trying to
that's
learn something and I want to snatch something from it. I think that's where I find good art is it could even be something little or whatever.
mhm.
Uh, but that's always truly what's going on, I think. And I hope that that would be happening the other way around as well. And I think that's like was what was most exciting about his situation. I will say that I didn't know I was live streamed the whole time, so I'm I'm happy I acted somewhat organically because I was
You would have
told I
been.
was somewhat amusing in that recording because I was sitting on the ground, scratching my head, whatever, messing around with my paintbrushes. But yeah,
No, no.
that in particular isn't it very that's like right up my alley. I love artists being pulled together to work on projects together, and
Yeah.
for me, it
And
gets me out of my comfort zone in such a positive way.
and folks, and I think the recordings are still online. Like
I
it's like
believe so.
they're archives, so you can go back, you can go and watch it. And it was what was really interesting because I went live, like I went in. It was this was done at the Dayton Society of Artists. And I
Yeah,
walk in, and it like you described it perfectly. Your elevator speech was perfect. It's a rave where you ask people to make art. And it was like, and then but it was kind of like a community gathering. Like people were eating food, having drinks, and connecting, engaging, and watching the artists, listening to the music, and they're going back and forth in the rooms. There was art hanging on the walls. It was just this just really great creative vibe. And it was like, and you were scratching your head a lot of times. You're like, I don't know if this is, because you're committing to making this piece in front of everyone, and you just got to
yeah.
keep going. And it was like,
Hmm.
but it was a fun piece. I was like, I appreciated how I could tell it was your style of painting, but you had done something a little different because of the environment. And so I'm kind of curious. Like it was like I was like, oh, no, Bill. I said we'll be talking soon. So I get to ask that question. Like, what changed? What changed about your style of art making? Because I saw a difference. So I've seen your work. I know. I'm like, bro, I'd like hang out all the time, and all I do is look at art. So like, this is
So
all
in
I
that situation, I wanted to not like, well, I guess that is the right word. I kind of wanted to showcase, like you said, like how I create art, like how I actually do. But it was interesting I wanted to break it up because usually, I mean, I don't mean to be in kind of way. I'm such a slow worker on my art, really.
no, that's okay. No, we
Kind
all
of
have different way
what
of doing
I
it.
do is it's several projects all at once, just doing a little bit on each one, and then eventually there's a whole bundle of stuff that I'm done. And then
Bill, every artist does that.
I hope so. They better
You are
be.
good company. Trust me.
You know, before
You
I realized that, though, I was killing so much time. I was really hung up on, I would be hung up on single pieces and stuff, or think of jumping around from art to art as a bad thing. And realizing that
really?
in the end, it really like kind of helped me being able to, yeah, just get stuck on one art project and jump to another. But then you still got that one to jump back to. It's been a big one for me in a creative
Oh,
way and actually being able to monetize the work as well, truly.
absolutely. So you are in good
So that
company.
wasn't such a clear one to me in the beginning. That was maybe one
Even
of
if
those
is
that was a little harder learned than it should have been.
and I'm here to tell you, they teach none of this in art school. You don't
I was
because
going to say, I missed that day.
I'm Bonnie Miles, Membership Coordinator of CET. Thank you for listening to Rodney Veal's Inspired By. This podcast is a production of CET and ThinkTV, two local PBS stations. As PBS stations, the work we do online, on air, and in the community is supported by listeners like you. If you're enjoying the show and would like to support our work, please consider becoming a member at cetconnect.org or thinktv.org. Plus, when you sign up to donate at least $5 a month, you'll get access to special members-only streaming videos on the PBS app through Passport. Learn more at cetconnect.org or thinktv.org.
If you're enjoying this conversation, The Art Show, also hosted by Rodney Veal, is available to stream anytime from anywhere on YouTube or the PBS app.
and that's the other part of like you being a part of this arts community and coming in with this exuberant spirit is that it's a learning process and I was kind of curious because I don't know, did you get to see the exhibit at the Contemporary with Jason Revoke and Paul Verdell and Jamea
Absolutely.
Richardson Richards Edmonds Richards. Jamea, don't kill me if I screwed up your last name. But
Yeah,
Jason
that's what,
was,
yeah.
yeah, Jason was fascinating with the work that
He's
he did.
absolutely a mind-blowing artist. The scale alone on those pieces and his art are so cool to me. I mean, it's a really side note. I they just packed that show up,
Yep.
and I really enjoyed peeking in the windows and seeing everything even boxed up. I don't know, it was something about I just loved seeing that show go in and out and everything. And them having the talks with him and Mike Giant and things like that
Yeah.
throughout it being up. That was a really cool experience. And Jason's such a cool artist and clever person. Just geesh.
Yeah. No. Well, what I loved about that exhibition and his work, like you said about scale, is the fact that his because I interviewed him and that interview is going to go for the art show next season, and I'm going through the transcripts. His nervousness about not having the formalized training, and I'm like, dude, why? Like you're making art at that scale that looks that freaking amazing. Why? why are
So
you
good.
afraid? Like, why are you afraid that you don't feel legit? Like, you're totally legit. This is legit art.
Yeah.
You're in it. It doesn't matter how you got there. You are here. And I just kind of was kind of curious what your response, because those pieces were banging. There was something. It was intriguing. It was a freshness to it. It was multi-layered as a thought process. It was creative. There was just so many layers to it. It's like, and I attribute Heather Jones as a curator for giving us.
She's outstanding.
God, is she the best?
I love, um, I've got also, so that's something that's really grown on me is the curating end of things. That's something that I absolutely never would have anticipated. And I think she makes it look so cool. I think like curating shows and things like that is an art of its own. And having that vision uh, is so cool. Like I guess my my respect for a curating position and my love for and even like aspiration for being a curator is like
Ooh.
such a special thing. Like I said, the whole like bringing people together, like kind of, and I don't want to come out and whatever, picking and choosing art to create something bigger, I think is such a rad, maybe not underappreciated. Maybe I'm just saying that because I'm not,
No, it is
haven't been a part
underappreciated.
of that end of the scene, but that's something now when I go to art shows, like I make sure I check out who actually put the show together, and because I think that's such a big part of the
Wow.
whole situation, all the way down to what you're talking about. Because I don't know if the very like I guess that's what like I don't know if I have like a tunnel vision. Like I've only experienced what I've experienced. And I used to think like there was kind of a not a gatekeeping, but I thought it would be really, really hard for an artist who doesn't have all the formal training to sneak their foot in there. Like, it's in fact why I started curating my own shows to kind of get things rolling.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, there was a spot for me if I'm putting the show
No, but
together.
that's where the entrepreneur yes, every person does that. Trust me, dude. Trust me. Every
Yeah.
artist has done that. It's like, yes, you are.
So that's
That's why.
what
Yeah.
that's really what's got me to where I am is I've been making it look like I'm including other artists, but I'm just really riding some coattails of the local artists here, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
But you're not writing the coattails. You're producing work that is
Yeah,
intriguing. There was a good friend of mine, Emily Stamus. A shout out to Emily. When I said I was doing this interview with you, she said, "I love Bill's work. It's fresh." And she's coming from a completely. She's not coming from the art world. She's coming from the business world and the graphic design world of marketing, but she knows art and she knows what she likes. And she said, "Oh no, Bill's exuberant art he's intriguing me." And I'm like, wow, because she's not a shy person. Like she's
wow.
yeah. So you got fan club out there,
You
Bill.
gotta warn me of these. I'm being swooned here. I
You
didn't. I
did
wasn't
let the
ready
swooning
for
begin,
such
Bill.
high praise.
It's high praise indeed. Well, it's well earned, and so don't like that. So that's why I think of like curating is it. I honestly I was terrified the first time I ever curated. I was like, I'm not a curator, and I did it, and
Yeah.
I was like, I like this. This is fun. It was like because it's a that first it's something about it being surrounded by these other voices and their work, and then you insert your work into it and you kind of figure out like what and like like
It's
you
like
yeah.
directing an orchestra or something. It's just I've got so much love for that end of things right now. Yeah, you just get to pick and choose, and like beyond that, I think that's some of the biggest the biggest learning that I've done along the way is I'm trying to think how to say it, like kind of picking and choosing artists And it's not always exactly the art that's in front of you that I have even picked. It's like the process of each of the artists. Like I've been watching their journey or whatever like that. And that's kind of what I love. Like maybe even, and maybe nobody who's shown art with me, I hope this doesn't hurt your feelings. Like maybe even at the show that I do, like the pieces that you show weren't even my favorite, but it's a part of your process that I want to show. Like that's more it. Like I like picking my artists and things like that because of where they are in their creative, like what they're figuring out there and things like that.
Mm.
If that makes any sense outside of my head.
No, it totally makes sense out of your end. It totally does. It's not a it's as you continue to do what you do, you're just gonna just keep discovering like, oh, and the conversations with folks who are in their part of the art world and doing it that you respect and admire, and you're looking at who's curating, they're gonna say exactly the same things, dude. I'm telling you, it's like it's funny, and that's because I'm privy to these conversations, and it's like,
Surely.
wow, it's like Bill, you're saying exactly the same thing they're saying. So yeah, dude, jump in. Water's fine.
Yeah. I
Which
mean,
is
it
what
really has been. It's been a nice experience, and that's been a truly welcoming
yeah.
experience locally, and it is nice to hear. Um, Especially like you said, something extra about that, knowing like somebody through marketing and graphic design kind of stuff also has respect because it's been it's a funny game to play. In fact, well, my ex-wife, she teaches marketing and things like that. So kind of like along the way of me learning my art and things like that,
Yeah.
she was dropping bugs in there, of how to make things more sellable and things like that. And that's been a funny process to learn some of that as well. And it's neat to hear that like it's recognized that like the graphic end of things. I feel like I got a little babbly here, but it's
No, you didn't.
that's
No,
been an
no.
interesting balance to try to learn. There was like a moment in time where I was trying to make art pieces almost strictly to sell. Like at first, I was kind of worried about
Oh,
trying to sell like a bunch of little pieces or whatever like that. I was actually worried about the monetary. Like it was that's where I was trying to make my money, and it was an interesting learning experience and maybe even a chunk of what like made my like pop arty kind of thing. Like I had to clean some stuff up uh, to where I thought it would go in more people's houses and things like that. And it kind of gets mixed up as a part of the final product of maybe what was a chaotic idea of mine. But then I tweak a few things to make it what I think would look good in a house or a business or something like that.
I love the fact that you this is that business end, like you're making a living at this. This is supporting and sustaining because it supports and sustains the next iteration of the ideas. And so,
Bingo.
do you think it's kind of changed for you in the sense of where you're at now, that it's like, I don't want to say the word emboldened, but just emboldened you to say, you know what, let me let's go a little bit further out on the edge of the plank, so to speak. I mean, scale. I'm kind of curious about you and doing work at scale. Like for me personally, like
You mean in size or quantity? I mean,
big in size. I'm just like, I'm kind of curious because there's such an exuberance to the work. I'm just, yeah, I
it's
just,
interesting to me that boldness that does come and you almost don't recognize it. Because, like, what I used to be maybe afraid to do, or like, I guess that's where I think like artists start making their weird art because I think almost you have to be accepted by the community and then you can start pushing some like odds and ends and whatever, doing that live painting, stuff like that. That
Mhm.
wouldn't have been something maybe I would have presented as a finished product before. Um, The scale, I guess, just comes with confidence. It is like an acceptance. I guess there was something there. I needed a little positive feedback before I was so bold to do some of that,
Okay.
trying to stretch things out.
And it's like it's like it's about scale. Like the like this is embolden you because you're like, you know, I see you as a risk taking artist, and I love that. And so I'm just kind of curious, like, what you want to go a little further off the edge of the plank because it's like, you know, the art's fun on the edge. That's what I'm saying. You're
Yeah.
having fun on the edge, and I like it. And a lot of people like it. So
My most recent, like what I can think of here is like, it's not exactly that, but like I had a realization about a month ago. In fact, we talked about DSA. Being involved with DSA locally has been like a huge, kind of a huge deal to me. I think I've given them some good whatever, and vice versa. DSA basically put me in the Dayton Metro Library. They had a show about a month ago. And it was a kind of funny feeling that I wasn't super reactive to it. It felt right when I think like a year ago, even, it would have blew my mind. I would have been like, whoa, like, holy cow. And it's almost something like that, that like, it's not necessarily, I feel like I'm being dangerous or anything, but the more each little step is accepted, you kind of just have to push a little farther, I think, to learn something. And I don't mean to just make everything about me, but rarely am I actually making art for other people. It's all kind of like a learning process. I just want to see what'll happen if I do this. Like if I show this or present this way, maybe even if I'm trying to kind of poke the bear and like push the norm, that has become a much more comfortable spot for me along the way. It doesn't
mhm.
maybe not necessarily scale, but seeing what I can get away with and what I can learn from each project along the way. And I think that inherently gets like a little more and a little more. And I think that's
Mm,
maybe when like your big artists you see like do like their weirdest stuff or something, because like they're not necessarily having, like you don't have to cater to the audience anymore. People are looking for what you're doing. Like they want to see what that next little push
mhm.
is kind of the best way I can explain the feeling that I'm getting from that question. Sorry for stammering a
No,
bit
no, this
through
is no,
that.
that's a good feeling. I'm like, yeah, it's like
But
it's and yeah.
yeah, I think that's really what I've experienced more, and that's taught me a lot. And I do think having some sort of a local presence has helped me. Maybe with the word you're like emboldened to risk that. Or I feel like if it doesn't work out, I've shown enough of my work that that I can still like snap out of that if I do something that just doesn't make sense or whatever. But it's all always such a part of just learning. And I hate that I'm using our community just for my own entertainment, but that's kind of it. Like I just want to see what might hit right, or you just kind of got to put out
Mm.
a different or a little bigger or a little weirder or and see how that might be bid onto.
People are very hungry for authenticity and creativity. And the authentic voice, the artist who's marching to the beat of their own drummer, and you're definitely marching to the beat of your own drummer, and it's lovely. You got a good band. you bring the band back. The band's good. The band's good. And so,
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's and that's true of you and a lot of our other artists in that I consider who are in this kind of breakout phase right now. Right? It's like it's exciting, and it should be exciting, and it should be allowing for the risk taking and allowing for the experiment and allowing for the weird art, because it's like I think I think artists now, like I was having a conversation with Heather yesterday, Heather Jones at the Contemporary, and it's like I said, Heather, I feel like right now is this really strange time of artists have done things that have definitely surprised me, and I think it surprised the community, and the community's there for it. The surprises, their work is different, your work is different, and it's like I need that. I want safe anymore. I don't need any more safe art. Yeah, clock's a ticking. I'm on the back end of the roller coaster of life. I'm like, I, I need the adrenaline rush. I need the what the hell. I literally need to sometimes say that when I see some work, and I've done that.
Yeah.
I'm going, and I'm astounded. And so I kind of feel like you want that, and I kind of feel like the community wants it. So, yeah.
I think you need to put out there like what you want. I think safe is not going to necessarily work anymore. I don't know, like what you want to point your finger at or whatever, AI and everything going on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think people being bold and creating something and putting it out there, I think is really important right now. And trying, or if you are, I think you just are going to have to push that and not like not be yourself. The genuine authenticity kind of thing, I think, is so important. And I guess that's some of like what like even goes back to some of like the schooling and stuff like that. I'm afraid a lot of artists are basically like faking. They're trying to be something they think is expected or something like that. And so often that turns into just looking like a kind of cookie cutter situation. Um, uh, and I'm not throwing any shade or whatever
No,
towards
no, observation.
anybody doing their work.
Yeah.
I just think now is the time where you kind of got to be bold and you got to work out these ideas. And I think the more of it that can be worked out in front of your community and other artists and things like that, the more important it's going to be. It's like open conversations, I think, is really just key because I think everybody's just afraid to ask questions or like look foolish in front of people or something like that. And I'll be honest, and I'm not even like trying to talk mean about myself. I think my dopey ignorance on some of this, walking into situations, has been, and it sounds funny saying it about myself, but I think it's been a breath of fresh air to some people. Not necessarily just trying to keep up with the conversation, but maybe say something a little different or new, even if it doesn't line up with the other person's ideas, things like that.
And I love the way you describe that because because the thing is it's not you're not putting yourself down. You are exactly right. Because I'm my vantage point. I'm lucky. I'm at this vantage point of where I see a lot. I see so much. I mean, I drove all the way from down to Cincinnati to go see a performance at the Cincinnati Fringe Festival and drove back and got home at midnight. did the eye drops. Went to bed. Woke up. I'm like, I'm gonna interview Bil Tipton. That's what you do. I mean, I see it. And I love this about what I do. And so that is my observation as well. That people are like, yeah, come on, you're doing the thing that this it's not you're doing the thing and not playing it safe, and it's coming across and it's a different voice, and I like it, and I think people like it. So that's the reason why I'm like, well, I got to have this guy on my podcast. I'm sorry, I need to talk to him about creativity and things like that, and I'm glad I had you on the podcast. So yeah.
I'm so glad to be here. And it really is, again, not trying to be selfish about it. It's just another part of like the learning process and kind of this wild ride of trying everything you have an opportunity to be a part of. And well, anything that gets you closer to what you want. And that's big, even what you said, and I'm not trying to like gild anybody or anything like that. I think it's such a big deal going out and consuming the art, though. Like, I know I'm very anti-capitalism kind of stuff, but like, I think it's a big deal to go out there and witness the other art that's going on. And I don't know if it's exactly karma or whatever, probably maybe something more than that. But I think feeding into the art community like that is such a healthy thing also, to fuel your own art and show other artists that like things are moving and people are showing up for things. That's quite a big deal, I think, to me.
And that is
Like people like you, it's a huge deal. Giving platforms to people like me and all the other artists that you're involved with.
It goes. It's in service of something bigger than you and I. It's always in service of something bigger than you and I. And
yeah.
And I totally get it. So, and that's why I love having this conversation. So, Bill, thank you for being a part of this. I hope, folks, you see Bil Tipton's name. If he curates something, you see his art, go check it out. Have these conversations and this dialogue, because it is rich. And I think you are, in your way, changing and expanding the envelope of what's possible in our community. And I thank you for that. So thanks for being on the podcast, man.
I appreciate you, man, so very much, Rodney. It means a lot.
Absolutely my pleasure.